This is the Parent Portal Show.
You've seen prices rise from the dinner table to the pump, but Allstate agents are seeing ways to save you money on insurance. From starting a new policy to bundling coverage or even driving safely, Allstate agents know how to maximize your savings. They'll share their knowledge as they help you personalize your coverage. Because when it comes to seeing all the ways to save, Allstate agents do it best.
Mike Hammer has over 35 years as an Austin area Allstate agent. Call 512-343-6994 or visit MikeHammer@allstate.com.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
All right, well, welcome back to the Parent Portal Show, Coach. I think one of the things that's going on when we talk about all this disruption and certainly some of the challenges that NIL has going on, it is a question of politics. And I hate for that to be the description, but unfortunately, that is a lot that's going on behind this. And that's why NIL is going to suffer. It is not going to get through Congress as Charlie Baker thought he could bring it to, and then the NCAA thought they could make this happen. Let me give you some background. I had, at one point in time, I had a career in politics and did some things to help out with fundraising. And so I got a pretty good viewpoint of what that's all about and what goes on. And I'll tell you, it's not a pretty world whatsoever. There's a lot of crazy things that happen that the general public just is not aware of, the voters are not aware of, and it's an interesting situation because what appears in front of the cameras is, at least right now, it's very intense. There's a lot of controversy going on. What happens behind the cameras is a totally different environment. There is a lot of discussion, negotiation, and people know each other, and they have to put up with each other. Now, it's probably changed a little bit since I've been there, so I don't want to act like I know everything. But I will say I'm not surprised that NIL isn't getting through. What that means for us, it goes back to, if you think about what's been happening, back in the days of someone like Gary Hart, who was running for president and had this affair, this crazy affair, when he ended up getting kicked out of office, it set a little bit of a precedent for what was considered to be the standard, a moral high ground. We moved on to the Super Bowl when we had the big incident with the uniform malfunction, and that actually amped up even some more of those morality questions that made it difficult for Congress not to behave in a certain way. And they became very ethical and very moral on a very high ground. Nowadays, that has all gone away, and it's changed dramatically. Don't necessarily need to get into public figures, but I will tell you, Congress is not interested right now in stepping their foot into NIL because that's such a hornet's nest for them. None of those congressmen, here's what congressmen do. They react to hot topics in a way that they want to be as far away from it as possible unless it's forced upon them. And our congressional leaders or our politicians, let's say that, our politicians really struggle with making sure they please at least 50% all the time. And even then, they don't do a good job of it. It used to be the saying was, if you were the mayor of a small town, you knew that 50% of the time you were going to be wrong no matter what. You could never please anyone. And I think with the politics that's going on right now, I think that's the same thing that we see going on right now. So that's my kind of rant on all that. And it'll prove it out, I think, as we continue to move forward, even with some of the new headlines about NIL getting further down the path. But I'll share with you, I don't see a lot that I think is going to happen in the near future.
Wow, there's a lot there, right? Well, there's certainly a lot of monkey business, if you will. that is that's happening probably behind the scenes. I mean, we're at a place right now where Congress is voting on to fund the government,
Yeah.
in 2 days, right? And so you look at that and you say, how important is NIL to them?
Yeah.
And it's probably not in their top five, not in their top 10. There's a lot of big issues that are in front of it, and as a result, to your point, I don't see how they can get it, in a place where they can begin to have discussions on how they're going to, start laying the groundwork for guardrails on this. And as a result, it's going to get crazier. And to your point is those morality issues, um, you know, th- they they forced the hand of Congress to do something.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, well, this didn't get reported and we can kind of, slap you on the wrist and, push you to the side. This happened in front of everybody. And when it happens in front of everybody, uh, people want you to come out and say, hey, this is how I feel about this. And, that I think that's largely what is going to happen with this is, somebody's going to have enough, and something, bad actors, as we've talked about in the past with agents, or you know some of these collectives that are probably not doing the right thing. Something's going to happen, and it's going to force Congress or the courts, in my opinion, or the
It's going to be the
courts to make a
courts.
decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so as a result, when the courts start doing something, that's when you're going to see those guardrails come in. When that happens, who knows? It's not going to be in the next 6 months or a year for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and that's the environment we're in right now. I mean, if you pay attention to it, the unfortunately, because the legislative branch of our government is so unproductive, the executive branch and the courts are the ones that are having to figure it out, the judicial system. And it's just not where we should be, unfortunately, but it is where we are, and it's the way we'll continue moving forward. The congressmen have got their hair set on fire, and NIL is not going to put that fire out. So they're going to stay away from it, and it's just where we are. Well, let's shift to maybe a little more community kind of thought, and back to why we even do this show. It's all about parents and the the challenges that they face. We had a good game last night. Just wonderful opportunity for our team to kind of get out there and start to do some of the things. I will share with you what I thought was a very interesting occurrence. I noticed that our coaches chose this week to kind of shake things up with just who was playing where and things that were going on. It was a very telling moment. I wasn't expecting it. I saw some things get shifted around, but it was a good time to do it. The team that we were playing wasn't known to be a powerhouse, so we had the confidence that we could go in and probably play. If we were playing a good game, we'd probably get to where we needed to be. But it was very interesting to see how kids responded and reacted. And I think that's a little bit of what the coaches were doing. Certainly some pressures and some opportunities for kids to step up and show coach what you're made of. And I heard a lot about hey, it's all going to be on the game film. So kids would see kind of what their performance was. So it was a great night for us, and I felt it was a great way for a team to start to work together and start to find out their strengths and weaknesses and work on those.
Wow. Again, another great topic, or, analogy of what you're talking about here. It's, as a coach, um, you have limited time with the athletes to be able to get a lot out of them. And you're not just trying to make necessarily great men and women. At times you're trying to make a team, and oh, by the way, mix in the middle of that, they're trying to go to school and get an education at the same
Right.
time. And and for our community, it's one of those things. It's a delicate balance, and we have seen so many times that um, well, you hear it in all of our legislature about how the teachers are overworked. Well, the coaches are really overworked. They're the ones that are, 9 to 5, but oh, by the way, they're going 5 till 9, 5 till 10 in the
Yeah.
evenings, working with our kids, trying to help them to be good, good people. And
Yeah.
it's amazing when you do that, and then to be able to find ways to do what you're talking about, to like, find leaders within the group, or put people in different positions where they may excel. And it's such a challenge. And when you do something like that, it is a very it goes against the grain of what a lot of people think and what a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
And it's a very risky move because it could totally backfire. You could lose the whole team, and you lose all the parents and everything else. But it can also be a very, huge moment where some people that you didn't think would step up, and then it helps those that think that maybe they're a little bit further down the road that they really are. They see the reality that it's not about you, it's about us, it's about this team.
Sure. Yeah.
And from a community aspect, that's huge.
Yeah.
Whether you're playing 6-man football or volleyball or whatever it is to realize it's not about one, it's about the sum.
Yeah.
And man, how powerful is that? Because all of our kids are going to, eventually get out from under the house. And if they know how to work within that team environment at work, or, maybe they go on into the military, they already know how to do that. They're so far down the line than,
Yeah.
a lot of people that never get that.
Yeah. Well, and and as a parent, it's hard, right? You're watching, you're seeing changes being made, you're questioning, not in a negative way necessarily, but questioning, what is coach doing? Why is he making these changes? Why are they putting kids in different places? Why isn't that kid who's one of our best athletes? Why isn't he getting more playtime? All that kind of stuff. As a parent, that you got to sit down and shut up and just say, you know what, coach has got a game plan here. So it's tough. It's tough sometimes. You want to be supportive. You absolutely are there for the team. You're there for the player. And it's hard to coach your kid up. Hey, why did coach do this to me? Why am I second string instead of first string? But, with the idea that you've joined the program and you've got some confidence in the coaches that are leading your kids, and that's challenging. Coaches aren't perfect, and they make mistakes, and they make mistakes with kids that impact kids. So as parents, we're there to say, hey, there's life lessons here. There's things that you can take out of this. Make sure that you give it your best and be the kind of individual and the showing respect for yourself and for the team. Step up and do your job, and trust that coach has got some game plan going on.
I got one thing I want to add to that as a coach, right?
All right.
Uh, One of the things that I always encouraged athletes to do was, whether you start or whether you can't find your way into the gym, you both have a place on our team for what we're trying to accomplish. And if you're that player, that starts, you need to be the biggest cheerleader
Sure.
of that person that is emerging than any fan. You need
Yeah.
to be the one that's coaching them up. You need to be the one that's lifting them up, because you're going to need that player. You need that player in practice. You need that player when somebody goes down for next man up. You need that player for the year after you're gone and you're not even thinking about football at the high school level. You need that player who you've helped to lead, to guide, to be that next man up when they're a senior or a junior, to be that leader for the next group.
Yeah.
And so many times, as parents, we're like, it's all about my kid. It's
Yeah.
it's all about my kid, and I'm moving on to the next thing. And I'll just tell you is, it's so refreshing when a coach hears, it's like, I don't care if my kid plays or not. I care about the team succeeding,
Yeah.
because that's a parent that's grounded in the fact that they understand that it's not about that one individual player. It's about the team, and the team is actually what you're building. That's what you're playing with. Very few players have we ever seen on the field are able to win a game by themselves, especially in football. They can make an incredible impact. They can be game changers, but they can't win a game by themselves. And it takes a team. And that's, that old saying of you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value in that. And, it's when parents see that and buy into it, that makes it a lot easier for kids to see it and buy it. I mean, if I came home and my kid was, like, well, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, I'd be like, well, wait a minute. Why is it wrong? Is it because I'm not playing or something else? And then you come to find out that it's like the parents at home, just beating up the coaches because my kid's not playing. And wow, it's like monkey see, monkey do kind of thing in that moment. And all of a sudden the kid looks just like the parent. And if the parent is like supportive, gets the team concept, man, the kid is it's easy for the kid to say, yeah, this is the way we should be doing it. So that's a
Yeah.
rant from a coach, but there's so much truth in it. And you see great teams being able to beat, just about everybody they play. You see great individuals being good, but not beating great teams.
Got it.
You've seen prices rise from the dinner table to the pump, but Allstate agents are seeing ways to save you money on insurance. From starting a new policy to bundling coverage or even driving safely, Allstate agents know how to maximize your savings. They'll share their knowledge as they help you personalize your coverage. Because when it comes to seeing all the ways to save, Allstate agents do it best.
Mike Hammer has over 35 years as an Austin area Allstate agent. Call 512-343-6994 or visit MikeHammer@allstate.com.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the Parent Portal Show.